All right, everyone, welcome in. We are going live with you. Pick and Troll, episode number 15. I'm here with Rex. I am Jordan, as you should all know. Going to be talking about the Wednesday slate of basketball. Rex and I breaking down some openers. I've got 4 games lined up for you. Rex has 3. So we got some ball to talk about for tomorrow. But first, as always, just a couple quick promotional plugs for the Breakdown Sports. Check out our website, www.thebreakdownsports.com. We do have lots of new content going up there. You will start to see us expand into some sports and areas that we previously have not covered as much, talking about DFS and getting more involved with golf as well. So be on the lookout for that in the coming weeks. Check us out on Twitter at @the_breakdown, and you can find us on Instagram, breakdown_sport. So go ahead, give us a follow on those. Help us try to grow this brand. Rex, how are you doing?
Good. Long, sweaty day of college basketball. If you started the 2 p.m. game with South Alabama and Georgia State, still got some good ones going on right now. And we got the Sixers tipping off right now. So once we're done here, going to be hopping right back into the hoops.
Who are the Sixers playing tonight? Late game.
Kings. I get to watch some Tyrese Halliburton.
Nice. Love that. Still a 1-point game, Texas and Kansas State with 5 seconds left.
Oh, man. Kansas State's trying to pull that one out. They're 14.5-point dogs, I believe. So almost covered the spread there. Texas, they're just in shambles right now.
What would that do to K-State's net rating? They lose to a D school and they beat Texas?
Oh, if K-State pulls this one out, they probably jump up high in the Haslam metrics. At least 25 spots.
That's good. That is good. So what's been going on tonight in basketball? I know you've been plugged in, starting with the 4:30 Duke game. Give us a quick rundown of some of the highlights.
Yeah, so Duke, once again, lost. Laying points, so laying 6.5. Some I was calling them clowns on Twitter. Sorry if you did bet Duke 6.5, 7, 7.5, or 8. But what in God's name makes you feel comfortable laying 6.5 to 8 points with Duke right now? This team, like Texas, probably not in as big a shambles, but Duke couldn't pull it out against Notre Dame. Shot over 50% from 3. There is 0 defense being played in that game. Holding the Notre Dame 6.5 ticket. Didn't feel too hot, I guess, right off the bat, but once the game got rolling, felt a lot better there. So that's where Duke, I don't know how they're continuing to lay points right now. It's just asinine.
What was the line?
6.5 and closed at 8. So even got moved. So you got the Duke public who thought, oh, Notre Dame's coming in. Nope. Now Duke, you are 7 and 8 on the season.
Oh my God.
Arkansas and Kentucky was a game that was extremely gross in the first half. No one was making buckets. Then you got in the second half. Arkansas got out to a nice double-digit lead, ends up winning by 1. That was a game where I had the -1, so I had to push, and that's where a complete syndicate or a group shaped that number because it was sitting at -1.5, got bumped to 2.5 around 5:30, 4 in the morning, and then instantly fell off that 2.5. So people probably bought up for that 3. So good and sharp moves by them because that game where Arkansas just fumbled down the stretch. That was really it. Penn and Michigan State continues to lose as well. So those 3 schools with Kentucky, Michigan State, and Duke, those are 3 very prime fade candidates, especially if they're laying points in any way.
Yeah, thanks to your text message that was sent to my mobile device, I was able to jump in and back State Penn plus 5, 5.5, some crazy number, 4.5. And then to see them win outright is great. They were down. I was outside. I'd just run out we got some more snow, so I was shoveling. I went out. I checked my phone, saw that Penn State was down by 10, and I could have gotten them. And I really thought about taking them again at plus 7.5 live, but I was like, I already got 2 units on this game. Let's chill and see if they can actually pull it off, which they did. So jumping
not
into
many crazy upsets tonight. You got some that tried to get noisy, but nothing really got through the line.
I'm still scoreboard watching this. Kansas State Texas game. But going ahead and breaking down how the model has done, all results are prior to tonight's action. Model overall with 1,300 plays at this point, 51.42%. Our multi-point edges are just under 53%. 205 and 182. So model's been running well. Rex, I believe you said, been on a little bit of a heater the last few nights.
Yeah, the last 5 days it definitely cashed pretty well. Saturday it pushed even, but the other 4 days other than that, it was cashing between 5, and then on Friday it went 17 and 5. So Friday had a huge day. Thankfully, neither of us played any games on that Friday slate, but it was red hot then.
Yeah, Saturday, Rex and I both gave out some stinkers on the stream. It's funny, as he was grading the results, I figured out that we basically captured 60% of the model losses while only getting 20% of the wins. So it was great. It was a good day for Rex and I in terms of betting, but new day, as it always is in the college basketball world. So let's go ahead and jump into some picks.
Yes, sir. You got 4 of them today. I got 2 with a third that I'm eyeing up because I think the line's going to keep moving against it since it's a stinker team. So you kick us off.
Yeah, honestly, my second game, my favorite team to bet in the world, I think that line would have continued to move in my favor, but I just don't know what tomorrow's workday is going to bring and didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to bet on my favorite team. So my first bet that I'm going to jump into, San Francisco -4. San Francisco is taking on Pepperdine. So a nice WCC matchup here. These two teams haven't played, so this is one of the final matchups in their conference schedule before they start replaying the same teams over again. San Francisco, really solid team. They obviously had the big upset early in the year against Virginia when Virginia was still ranked either 1 or 2. But those days are gone, and honestly, San Francisco's kind of struggled a bit in WCC play. This game is coming off of them not playing within the last 10 games due to some game cancellations. So that is something to think about in terms of backing them. But getting this line at -4, it opened -7, was immediately pushed down to the 4, 4.5, 5 range. I jumped on it at -4. What I like about San Francisco, this is one of my high variance 3-point teams, really solid shooting the 3, even better at defending the 3. Pepperdine is awful at shooting the 3, but they are not afraid to kind of just toss them up. So they continue to shoot the shots even though they aren't there. San Francisco, solid rebounding team, very sound on the defensive side of the board. So I like San Francisco taking them -4.
Yeah, like what you said with them having the rest, that could be a little bit of a worry, but this is a huge game in the standings because they're currently the 4th and 5th seeds in their conference. So this is a big game for who can get an upper hand here. With San Fran, they also have Gonzaga up on deck. So especially with that long break, you want to get a nice win under your belt first, get everything grooving. So when you go up for Gonzaga, probably don't want to see them 2 games after that long break, but that's who they have. And then it's not like Pepperdine doesn't have a chump up next either. They got St. Mary's, so both teams with a must-win game now, seeing who they have up next as well. If you want to try to gauge motivation, which you never can.
Yeah, this is going to be an up-tempo game for sure because Pepperdine really likes to push it. San Francisco plays right above nation's average in terms of their tempo, and both of them going into bigger matchups following. I think they're both going to want to get their feet under them, run with the ball. But I just like San Francisco's ability to stop this Pepperdine offense, which at times when their 3-point shooting is really bad, I remember backing them early in the season. I'll see if I can pull that up. They are really tough. I backed them against UCLA, and they shot under 25%, and they were terrible. I think I also had them against UC Santa Barbara right before Christmas, and they shot 3 of 18 from 3. So when they are off from 3, they cannot score. They struggle to put up the points, and that's what I'm hoping will happen with this San Francisco perimeter D.
Nice. I like it. So I don't know if this might have been the marquee matchup coming into the season that would be on tomorrow night. I think it is the #1 game rated in KenPom and Bart. So I'm going with Rutgers and Iowa. And here you got two teams completely headed in the wrong direction, but it does sound like CJ Frederick is coming back for Iowa. Who knows how much he's going to play, how healthy he is. Sounds like he's going to be game to game with his current injury, but after sitting 2 out, Iowa's lost 4 or 5, and Rutgers won 4 in a row. Rutgers has only lost 3 games so far in conference by more than 7 points, which is where I'm taking them on the spread at. So if you're going to give me 13 games, they're hanging in tough. It is on the road, but it was kind of a trend with Duke and Kentucky today. I'm just going to, as of right now, if a team's in a funk, I'm going to keep thinking they're going to ride that funk until they get out of it. Rutgers has been turning it around, and I just do not trust this Iowa defense whatsoever. They cannot stop anybody. They're right at nation's average, and they have a bunch of nice non-con games in there to bulk that up, and they've done really nothing to help that. And throughout this season so far, especially in this stretch, they're stopping nobody on defense. Rutgers, they actually play a top 25 defense. They have a top 50 offense. I mean, you have to tell me they have to keep this game within 7. I think they can do it. We saw them. I think they've played once already this season. And yeah, Rutgers won at home. So that's where Iowa won at Rutgers, my bad, by 2 points. So that's where I still think Rutgers keeps it within the 7.
Yeah, this isn't Iowa of late December, early January, blowing teams out by 20, 30 points on the road. They are playing teams much closer. Like you mentioned, they've lost 4 of their last 5. Certainly in a bit of a tough spot there for them. And while getting Frederick back certainly does help their offense flow, 7 points is a lot to be laying. And I certainly think they're on the right side of this.
Yep, let's go Goose.
See you in the comments?
No, anytime I back Rutgers, I always just got to shout out Goose on the stream.
All right, next pick that I am going to take my absolute favorite team to back. Incarnate Word. Obviously, they're playing a game. I got to be on it. I haven't watched them in weeks, but I love them. They always pop in the model. So this is the next game that I'm going to pick and recommend. Grabbed it at -1.5, so 1.5 point favorites here. Same thing I just said about San Francisco. This is a high volatility, high variance 3-point team. They're one of the top 3-point teams in the nation, going up against one of the average-ish defending teams. They're right at Northwestern State is at 33% defending from the 3, which I believe is probably the nation's average. 2 bottom 50 teams, 2 bottom 75 teams going off against one another. Incarnate Word seems to do really well in their Southland Conference play against these bottom 50, bottom 75 teams, against teams like Stephen F. Austin or even Nicholls State. They don't do as well. So backing them against a worse team, I really like Incarnate Word. I like backing them. I like that they are always chucking up those threes. Even, if you were to pull up Bart, I just pulled it up here, it'll show you with color coding, like conditional formatting, their top and lowest ranked shooting performances. When they shoot 45% from 3, it doesn't even show green because there have been multiple games when they've broke 50%. And I'm just hoping for another one of those games, getting them as a slight favorite. I love backing this team and find any excuse to do so.
Yep, there's not much more to say on Incarnate Word since we've talked about them so much here. You're just riding the variance, hoping that they get hot from 3 because, neither of these teams do anything well other than one team shoots from 3 well. So if they don't get hot, it's going to be a gross game to watch.
Yep. Yeah, if they don't get hot, this could be a 58-55 type game, and I would not be surprised at all. So something to consider when you do back these teams. Like I said, I'm backing the side. I'm not taking a total. With these high variance teams, it's tough to take a total. They're either going to fly over or they are going to score 110 points combined.
All right. So for the next game, I got my second play. Here, I'm just fading a team that's just off the highs of the high. Valpo took down Drake, ended their undefeated season. They got Bradley coming up at home. And with Bradley, they have one of the top 2-point defenses in the whole nation. It's top 15 in conference play. It's top 3. So that's where Valpo does not score well from 2, cannot hit a 3 to save their life. They're shooting at 30% this season. This is solely just a straight game where I think Bradley, who's sitting at a much worse place than they expect it to be, even though they're in the top 135 of teams. This is where I just think Bradley laying the 2 points. I think you can get the -1.5 on Better Line at -115. I'm taking the -2 at 105 because I'm just backing the better team here. Valpo, they got their solid win of the season. The only way they're making the tournaments if they win the conference. They have no shot to do that. Their offense is putrid. Bradley's going to be able to do what they want. Bradley just sucks at the free throw line, so I know I'm going to be sweating this one come down late if it's a close one. So that's the only place where it kind of scares me because I hate backing terrible free throw shooting team. But if you're going to give me the top 25 defense to back it up, that's fine with me.
I'm surprised you didn't tout off your new favorite trend quote type statistic of the game score, because Valpo fits your scenario of performing 10 points over their expected game score and coming down into their next game. I can't believe that they upset Drake on Sunday, but Drake did shoot 2 from 15 from 3. And I think that getting the opportunity to lay 2 here with Bradley makes so much sense. Valpo is not a good basketball team. They really got lucky being able to beat Drake and Drake not being able to hit a shot at all from 3. And their defense is so much superior, Bradley's, than what Valpo can do on offense. I think that this one clears the 2 pretty easily for you.
Yeah, the game score's got to be when they played each other the game before.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's the big one. And the biggest thing with Bradley is there's no way they're making the tournament unless they win the conference either. And they were sitting at 9-4 at one point. They're now currently sitting at 10-11. They haven't had anyone really get hurt. They just had streaks of where they played Loyola Chicago and Indiana State, and then they lost other games that they shouldn't have. So here's one against Valpo that they're projected to be favorites in 2 more games. So you got to pull those 2 out because you got Missouri State and Drake coming up. So no better way to right the ship than to beat up Valpo.
I like it. Missouri State, another quality team. For my next pick, going to go with another team that I've backed quite frequently. I know you've been on them a handful of times. VMI, got them at a pick. This is another one of those, you call them rat lines. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense. VMI opened as a dog. They opened as a 1-point dog and quickly moved up to a pick. Some places it's still sitting around a 1. So if you do your shopping, you certainly could find a 1. So be certain to look around. But there's no reason that Western Carolina should be a favorite here. Valpo doesn't like to play defense. I believe I gave that as my official analysis to Rex last week or the week before when we were looking at Saturday games. But VMI, like I say, another high variance 3-point team. They are top 25 in the nation in terms of their 3-point percentage, hitting 38% of their shots. They're shooting almost 50% of their shots from 3. So taking them here as a pick against a team that I think is considerably less talented with Western Carolina. Western Carolina has 1 conference win. They're 1-9. VMI is batting 500 conference play. And VMI, in my opinion, is a nation's average team. You know, they're sitting around the 150, between the 150 and 200 mark. And you have Western Carolina probably in the 225 to 250 range. Getting VMI as a pick seems like a no-brainer to me here. They're not coming off a long break. It's not like they're sandwiched in between multiple games like some of the other teams are that are making up games. So VMI is a pick.
Yeah, I don't know what group this is with the Catamounts, but it always seems like after their games open, it always moves in their favor. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem to be working out for them because a lot of their games are ending up being lined around a pick. And like you said, they're currently 1-9 in conference. I mean, the only thing is the variance gods, the regression gods, whatever it is, maybe it finally comes back and Western Carolina's favor finally. Until it happens, I'm not going to believe it because this team just plays 0 defense. And that's where VMI, I mean, unless you're a trends person, Jordan, they were 6-5, then they rotated wins and losses, and they currently sit at 10-9, and they're currently due for their loss. So if you're a trends guy, I'm pretty sure you could sell that as a model that's hit in the past 11 games and has an 11-0 record. Probably an A-grade trend on BetLab. Sorry, I didn't mean to tout or go on the touts thing right there. But yeah, I mean, here I like this VMI team. Greg Pram's by far the biggest or the best player in here. So that's where I would back VMI if I'm having a dog in this race. I just want to see how far Western Carolina can move this number before I jump in.
I mean, when you get into these Southland Conference, Missouri Valley Conference, when you're betting these low majors, if you take the team who has 1 to 2 players who are considerably better than the other team and the game is lined within a couple points, more often than not, you're going to come out on top. Not only is Greg Parman way better, but Jake Steffens way better than anyone that Western Carolina has. Even their third-ranked guy in Bart's rankings is about on par with the best Western Carolina player. So I will take a big man and someone who can drain threes over Western Carolina.
All right, so the last play I have is one that I'm eyeing up. Nothing's officially locked in here. I'm looking for a plus 10 or a plus 10.5 here with Fordham. So getting real gross down here going against George Mason. And I mean, we got new coach bounce here at Fordham right now. Covered and played a good game against UMass, even though Mitchell wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Beat LaSalle outright by 8. Going up against a George Mason team that George Mason's right in the cellar with Fordham, right in the cellar with St. Joe's. I know the bottom of the A10 well since I watched St. Joe's lose to the rest of them. We haven't gotten a chance to play Fordham or George Mason yet, unfortunately. But this is where, yes, they played Bonnie's and Dayton, so maybe George Mason's playing the higher quality games, but their wins before that were against LaSalle and St. Joe's and UMass. So this is where if you're going to give me 10 to 10.5, even though Fordham does stink at offense and does nothing great, I just think the new coach bounce, 2-game sample size, maybe they start to change it around a little bit with the momentum here. And George Mason, I just have no reason, and I have no wanting to back them, especially laying double digits. So right here, it's currently sitting at 9 or 9.5. I think the 9.5's at minus 110. So that's where once I can get a minus 110, 10.5 or 10, I'll be playing Fordham. So make sure to follow me on Twitter. It's right in my name, but down below me, so you can get that notification when I lock that play in.
Yeah, I'm trying to search for it on an odds board to see if there's 10 floating out. Not a 10 yet, but there are plenty of 9.5. BetOnline is 9.5 minus 105. So I think you're going to get a 10.
Yep, that's why I'm just being the patient game here. Hate doing that, but if I'm going to get the 10, makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, double digits in a conference game between, George Mason, they do have a few good players. I can't remember what his name is. They have a freshman who's actually really good. I remember talking with
Tyler Kolek.
That one. I remember talking with Joe about him that he only plays like half their minutes because they play him off the bench, which seems silly. He's clearly their most talented. But the dude drains threes, ice in his veins. In that game and against UMass, I went down to the final minute and then fucking 3 overtimes. He was hitting shots left and right. But you're getting 10 points with Fordham here in a conference play where George Mason, should they really be laying 10 points over anyone in the A10 at this point? Certainly on the right side of it, and just wait for that you to get that number.
Yeah, man. And this game probably going to end in the 110s as well. So if I do play this one, I might have to be a scoreboard watching one. Nah, my junkie and me will definitely have it up in some way. But this is going to be the one I painfully regret to watch.
I am repping the A10 today in my business school sweatshirt. This faded pink that has dyed everything else that's ever been in the wash with it pink. So,
well, it's like a Fordham schedule, and if you load up their BART page, it looks exactly like that.
That's pretty good. I do have an A10 troll to get to, so I'll get to that at the end. But final game that I have here, I am taking Missouri plus 1.5 minus 105. They are going up against Ole Miss. These two are two teams that are extremely close matched. The difference here is that Ole Miss, not Mississippi. Who calls them Mississippi? Ole Miss, not a great offense. They play really slow. They slow games down because it's what they have to do. They have to rely on their defense. Missouri has a really solid offense. So while Ole Miss is one of the top teams in the nation in terms of defense, Missouri's no slouch. They're top 30 in offense in most categories except for 3 points. But they do defend the three very well. Mississippi doesn't shoot a lot of threes. I just picture this one going right down to the end. And I honestly would take this. I would take Missouri money line, but at the time when I looked, that was not available.
Yeah, so for this one, this is the biggest rat line that there is out there tomorrow.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Splinter.
I don't know what it is in the SEC right now. I just think it's where the bookmakers, and I guess they're right, where the SEC, even though the bottom is Kentucky and Ole Miss and Miss State in South Carolina and Georgia, it's really not that far off from teams 4 through 12 or teams 4 through 14. So the bottom isn't as far off. Ole Miss, the only way they win this game is they play any defense, because if they get into a scoring battle here, I don't trust Kermit's side to do it. I mean, Kuzo, got to give him a little bit of respect here because he's definitely the better coach. And in this one, in a 1.5 game, in the SEC game, I'm not going to trust Kermit to pull anything out close until I see it. I think he did have a nice win. They had the buzzer beater against Auburn, but so you're also riding off the Ole Miss coming off that buzzer beater win. I think that plays more into Missouri's hands as well.
Yeah, they've only broken 70 in conference play twice, and one was in that overtime game against Auburn this past weekend. So if Missouri wants to win this game, just push it, shoot a lot of shots, force Ole Miss to try and go bucket for bucket with you, and you'll, without problem, take care of business.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you find any trend? I think this is one that I put in my mind for no reason, where you get the home team that's favored against a ranked team, and the home team's not ranked. Do you think that? I think that's just my brain saying that you have to play that home team. I don't know why. It's just something stupid that's always been engraved in there. So that's legitimately, I think, the only reason that's kept me off, because this line's so fishy.
It truly is, but here I am.
Let's go Tigers.
Yep. All right. Let's real quick recap our picks, and then I will get into a troll. I don't know if you have one.
I got a troll big time.
Well, all right. So my 4 plays, I'm taking San Francisco -4, -105 for 0.8 units. I'm taking Incarnate Word -105 at even money for 0.8 units. Taking VMI at a pick'em -105, just over a unit, so risking to win one. And then Missouri +1.5 -105, same thing, risking to win 1 unit.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely eyeing that VMI play to join in to see if the Catamounts gang or the Catamount group moves
you'll probably end up being able to get VMI as a dog again for sure.
So 2 plays with 1. I'm also eyeing up on my side is I got Rutgers +7 at -110. So I bought a half point there since it was sitting at 6.5 even. Bradley -2, -105, and then I'm eyeing a Fordham 10.5. The 10.5 will definitely get me to lock in. The 10's going to make me think about it a little bit.
All right. So I was absent from trolls in our most recent episode, but I got one lined up here. This past Saturday, my alma mater, the UMass Fighting Minutemen, went out and whooped the living shit out of the Rhody Rams. Wiped the court with them. Didn't have Trey Mitchell or Noah Fernandez. Still cruised to I think it was a 15-point victory. One of the biggest wins of my recent memory as far as being a UMass basketball fan, dating back to when I was a freshman. The only other game that possibly comes to mind is a game I was at when I was a senior, and UMass played BYU, and BYU was a fringe ranked team. So big win. Everyone's pumped off it. Sunday morning, I wake up to start seeing some news on hashtag UMass Twitter, shout them out, about some type of party at UMass, and a lot of students are now coming down with symptoms, this, that, and the other. Monday, I wake up and the university they have like a crisis plan for COVID infections, and went from like elevated, where it currently was, all the way up to high. So campus has been open for under a month, and it jumps up one level because I hope you're watching this UMass State of Chi, you fuck boys, through a party where however many such a large percentage of students were infected, and then went back to their dorms or their houses and continued to infect other students, that the university elevated it. And as part of their high risk level in the plan that they're on, all athletics immediately canceled. So UMass basketball is on a undetermined pause for an unknown length of time. UMass hockey, which was rolling and ranked, also on a pause. UMass basketball, ladies basketball, had just come off a big win. All our winter sports are paused right now. So that is my troll. UMass State of Chi, fucking around, trying to get their tips wet. Them with their fucking polo shirts and their khakis on, trying to grind up on girls, probably slipping them some Mickeys. And here we are now. I have no UMass basketball to root for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Michigan go with the same thing. I don't know if it was party related or what, but they shut down all their sports, and I think they're on week 3, and the basketball team has no idea when they're coming back, and it killed their momentum. UMass, they've played 11 games so far. The season is slated to end on the 3rd, so you guys would need to get 2 more games in there if you want to be qualified for an at-large bid, which I don't think you guys would get anyway, so sorry to burst that bubble there. So I don't know if you need, like, if you get the 13 games and then if you win the A10, if you don't get 13 games in and if you win the A10, do you qualify? I'm not that deep into the rules either. So yeah, it's a shame where, I mean, do we see them even any bit motivated coming out of this? Because it's the 3rd shutdown. They're probably fed up with it. They're college kids. So you have no idea how they're going to take to this one.
And what sucks for the students is that they've been quarantined this whole time. They've been quarantined since before campus was even opened. None of them were testing positive as a result of this party. Yet still, the athletics, whether it be basketball, men's basketball, women's, either of the hockey teams, are the ones who are paying the biggest price because some co-eds were trying to sip cheap beer and cheap fucking vodka.
Well, your next game on the schedule is technically St. Joe's on the 24th, so.
Ooh, maybe. Here's to hoping.
All right, I got one troll. If you want to hear another one, definitely check out the break room. I trolled Texas basketball on that one. Could probably almost do it again to them today, but they ended up winning, so I guess that's not it.
Oh, did they? What was it? By 1 or 2?
Yeah, they ended up winning by 1, I believe it was. You can fact check me, but I'm trolling JJ Murray of the Mean Green North, Texas, because you 100% had money on La Tech to cover that game. As simple as it is, you're up 4. There's 2 seconds left, I guess, with the ball. So they're inbounding it under their own basket because they just made 2 foul shots. And the guy fouls them shooting a 3-point attempt with under a second left. 4-point game. Fouling a guy shooting a 3 from a little bit right by half court. There's no way he's a senior. There's no way you can convince me that he had some change on it or he just had the biggest brain fart of all time. So sorry, JJ Murray. You're the troll of this week's episode or this episode.
What team was that?
North Texas, -4. The guy hit 2 of 3. I knew he was making at least one. The game instantly went off once I saw that foul happened. I was just like, nope, it's done. I'm not even giving myself hope of keeping it on.
Oh my God, that's good. Yeah,
and that was during the streak of where they all just started collapsing. That was a fun time. So I could definitely troll myself for Saturday where it was just one after the other after the other.
Yeah, I had checked, and this is how it always. This is like I think the second rough Saturday that I had. this season, and the other one started the same way. I will win my first two bets. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're rolling, boys. We're ready to go. And then like I'll check again, and like one of my teams that I'll have favored by like 3 points will be down by like 22 in the closing minutes of the first half, and I'm like, oh, this is fucking brilliant, great. And then the dominoes continue to fall, and I find myself sitting at 2-5 at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, this one was the Ball State Toledo over, missed by the hook. North Texas foul. Texas going 0 for 12 in both overtimes, and then Creighton being up by 16 and only winning by 3. So that's where like I was just like one after the other. I was texting with Joey B saying, dude, I feel so bad for UNC because they're next on the list for who has a game up next that I backed. Yeah, but somehow got 2 plays tomorrow. Eyeing up 2 with the VMI there, sitting at 58, 53, and 2 for plus 4.57 units. So still surviving this season. So can't complain with the record.
Still getting through, grinding away. We're down to the dog days of college basketball. That stretch down the stretch of conference play before the conference tournaments, before the tournament.
Yeah, we got like 2 months left, essentially, which is terrible to think about.
And then on to whatever we do next. But another great stream with you. Another great stream. Not many comments this time. I'm sure now, as I say that, we'll start getting hit with parlay questions from YouTube. But as always, if you guys have questions, want us to look at any games, look at any bets that you have, please chime in. We're more than happy to do it on the fly. Take a look at what the model has to say. We can both give our thoughts on it as well. So make sure you interact with us. We love to interact with the viewers who choose to tune in with us and spend 30 to 45 minutes of their evening with us. It's Tuesday. Rex and I might be back again on a weekday. Otherwise, we will certainly be back on Saturday morning, previewing the big Saturday slate. So as always, make sure you check out our website, www.thebreakdownsports.com. We have a new sale launching on our store tomorrow, bit.ly.com/thebreakdownstore. 30% off all merchandise. So go ahead and check that out. You can get a t-shirt for $13. So if you do want to support us, free content is not free. Obviously, it does cost to run the website, run all our podcasts and everything else. And we certainly appreciate any support that we get. I will be posting my plays tomorrow morning on Twitter. Rex will probably be posting his around the same time, so be on the lookout for that. And as always, thank you for tuning in. This is episode number 15 of Pick and Troll.
Yes, sir, and have a good one.